You ready? Here we go. Do it. Good. Good. Keep it up. This side. I love music. Music I love. Sing it with me. I love music. Music I love. Come on, sing now. I love music. Music I love. Keep it up. Very good. Good. This side over here. I love music. I love music. I love music. Pretty good. Good. Over here. Music. Music. Nice. Pretty good. Not bad. Yeah, that's right. Give yourself a round of applause. Why not? Music is an amazing thing. We just did that together. We've never done it before, right? That just happened just now. Did any of you practice? No, you didn't, because you didn't know it. I wrote it. Okay, so my talk is about I want higher math scores. Should I study music? Before I get into that, I want to do a little background. I guess I'll need this. There we go. So, music in our family of 7 growing up, it was the air we breathed. It was just how we operated. It's what we did. There I am. I'm adorable. There's my mom, my brother and sister. We played the piano. It was just what you did. You learned how to play. We would sing. We would perform. It was part of the air we breathed. We had a house in Springville, Utah, and growing up there, we had a piano in the front room, a piano in the back room. There I go. There we are. There. And it was just what you did. In fact, my sister and brother and older brother, younger sister, older sister, all of whom played beautiful piano. In fact, if you walked by our place at any point, you would think they have a player piano going on with Chopin and Bach on a loop, because it was constant. It was how we lived. I was more interested, though. We had a upright piano in the back of a make that I don't know, a mysterious make, but it had ivory keys. And over the years, those ivory keys had been worn down to really actually pretty sharp teeth, because of course ivory is, in the end, it's teeth. And I would just hit the sustain pedal and hit the low notes and just listen to them as decay, and wait for that moment where it was finally gone. Like, at what point is it actually, can I no longer hear it? And I was intoxicated by this. This thrilled me, and it's like this smell of perfume in a corridor after someone's walked through, and they're gone, but it's still there. It is intoxicating. So many of you have pianos at home collecting dust. You're going to go up to that piano, you're going to hit the sustain, and you're going to just hit the low A in octave and listen to that decay, and just listen and try to find out when it's gone. It's amazing. It's intoxicating. But I've spent years and years studying music, playing music, performing. My parents taught at the university for 30 years apiece. My dad was a low brass expert. My mother was and is a pianist. In fact, she's here tonight. Thanks, Mom. And that was just part of what we did. It's how we understood the world. And in all of that time, though, one of the things that I always try to just get back to is that intoxicating feeling of hitting those low notes and just listening to it decay. In the time of being a music educator, though, and I'm sure those of you who are in music education or in music at all have heard this. How many of you have heard the claim that if you study music, you're better at math? Raise your hand. Yeah? Okay, I can't really see you from the lights, but I'll assume many of you, yes? How many of you heard the reverse, that the studying math makes you better at music? No, I haven't either. So while we think about that, why is there no studies about the converse, which is that if you study math, you'll be better at music? Let's look at the studies that do exist that claim that the study of music makes you better at math. There are multiple studies, tens of thousands of kids involved in these studies, and they are, I didn't realize there were so many. They all conclude that music improves scores in other areas than just music. Students with experience in music performance scored on average 22 points above the mean on the verbal portion of the exam, the SAT exam, and an average of 18 points above the mean on the mathematical portion of the test, according to a study in '95. Band participants in the 8th grade cohort scored significantly higher than non-participants in all subtests except social studies for some reason. I don't know what to say. Daryl Kinney's study in 2008, a little out of order here, but 2006, results show that instrumental students outperform non-instrumental students in every subject and at every grade level. This is really impressive. So there's been a lot of work done to show this correlation. It doesn't show causation, but it certainly shows correlation. And so I looked for some other studies that said, if you study math, you're going to be really good at music. And here's what I found. There aren't any. What? Why? It seems like such a great idea. Here's the reason why. Math has not been, nor will ever be, at the risk of being cut from school districts across the country. It's not a subject that is not going to be taught. It's going to be taught. Music needs math in order to stay relevant in the academic scenario. Math does not need music. Math is academic catnip. It is the coup de grace. It's the brass ring of academia. So there is a lot invested in the studies of connecting music with math because, desperation. You don't want to lose out on that connection because you might get your studies might get cut. So getting back to this notion of why is it that there's this hierarchy of studies, or of subjects? Why is it that math is the brass ring, or why is it that, more importantly, why is it that music is considered frivolous, secondary, maybe something that doesn't really need to be studied, not that important? Let's quote John Adams. A letter to Abigail Adams back in 1780, May 12th, John writes, "I must study politics and war, that my sons may have liberty to study painting and poetry, mathematics and philosophy. My sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture in order to give their children the right to study painting, poetry," there it is, music, architecture, statuary, tapestry, and porcelain. I got a PhD in porcelain. My family was not. No, I didn't. I don't know what that would be. Anyway, so here's his letter to Abigail, and you can hear in it, you can see that he almost martyrdom. He's saying, these are the things I must study in order that maybe one day, not even my children, maybe my children's children might get around to studying music. Because because that's just how it is. That's the hierarchy of things. That's because what's important is what's important and what isn't. To that I say, it's nonsense. It is utterly preposterous to presume that we can wait for a distant future when things are peaceful enough, we have enough prosperity, or we have enough money, or whatever it is to actually study the arts. That's not how the arts work. That's not how music works. That's just not how we operate. In fact, music is most relevant when things are the hardest, when things are the most miserable, when you are the most down, when the war is rife. That's when it's relevant. When you're heartbroken, oh man, when you're heartbroken, music. Oh, music is something else when you're heartbroken. The music of the antebellum South, the slave South, or spirituals that were sung, they were born out of the most dire of circumstances and came to form one of the most incredible music forms ever, blues and jazz. There was music played during Auschwitz, during that horrible time. There was music written even during that time. In fact, some of it's been recorded recently. So it's during these times of trial, of tribulation. It's not something that gets put off. It can't be put on the back burner. In fact, if you want prosperity, you make it a priority. That's how it goes. All right. The study of arts is not frivolous. It's not a distraction from the important things. It is the important things. Music makes math relevant and not the other way around. If you are to say, I need 16 feet of wood, 16 feet, that's a good number. That number means nothing until you realize I need 16 feet of wood to cover a span so that I can cross this flooded tributary or whatever it is, right? So math on its own is in the ether. It's pure, it's beautiful, just like a lot of things we study in academia. They're lovely in a vacuum. But when you actually put them into practice, that's when they take on meaning. Music and art provide a much-needed bulwark against the avalanche of academic abstraction, the pervasive academic vacuums where the world in which we actually live is supplanted by one we hypothetically consider. Imagine how many times you have hypothetically considered problems on the whiteboard and solved for them, versus actually making something. God forbid, we make something. In fact, now, it's interesting. You watch this change, this huge shift across the country, where you have maker spaces and STEM things, hundreds of millions of dollars being spent because we realize we have people who know things, but they can't make anything. Music demands more of you. In Matthew B. Crawford's book, Shop Class as Soulcraft, he talks about this. The smartest, the most bright among us, the most highly lauded minds can't change the oil of their car, can't change a tire, can't use the fundamental mechanics of math to make anything happen. He says we've been pushing our kids in this direction, one that insistently steers young people toward the most ghostly kinds of work where you don't actually do anything, you just know things. Music demands that you not just know something, but that you know how to do something. It isn't enough to know that there are 12 notes of the chromatic scale. In fact, it's almost immaterial if you're going to sit down and actually play a piece. You have to know how to make that work, make your instrument work, actually do something with that information. It is the perfect synthesis of knowledge and action. It's beautiful. All right, musicians had it right all along. Really, they did. All along, musicians have been doing it this way because is there another way to make music? There isn't. You have to synthesize your knowledge, put it into action, put on a show, play a piece, practice a piece. All right, so let's get back to a couple things. One thing I want to do before I answer this question. Just an idea about the frivolous nature of art and of music. One thing that music has that is unique is that you will hear music at a birth, at a wedding. You'll hear music at a funeral. So I'd like you to sing one more time with me. Actually, two more times. One more time, but I just want you to sing a pedal point, a drone. Right, Bertie? You know, drone. Okay. So here we go. You're gonna sing with me. So don't be bashful. It's very quiet, and from where I'm looking, it looks like there is either a million people here or no one. It's hard to know. So here we go. Hit that note. Very good. Keep it up. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, good, traveling through this world of woe, and there's no sickness, toil, or danger, good, in that bright land to which I go. I'm going home to meet my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. Good. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. Nice. I sang that song not at some party. I didn't sing it. I sang it at a friend's funeral because that's what music does. It brings people together. It helps you mourn. It helps you be happy. It's too powerful a thing just to say, we'll get around to it. Maybe not my kids, maybe my grandkids. We'll get around to it. No, it's too big for that. So, the question, I want higher math scores. Should I study music? No, please don't. Do not take a music class because you want to get a higher math score. Take a math class because you want to do better at music. Play music because you love someone. Play music because you're sad. Learn a song because you just think it's amazing. Don't worry about getting a better math score. All right, so You've had a chance to practice it. We're going to get back to it. Here we go. Clap with me. Boom, clap. There we go. I love music. Music, I love. Come on, hear you. I love music. Music, I love. Keep it up. I love music. Good. Music, I love. Over here, here we go. I love music. I love music. I love music. I love. Over here we go. Music. Music. Very good. Music. And I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. You're done. Good job. Thank you very much. Way to go.